Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live for another edition of Drive Time with good old Matty Ice here, and of course, I have a couple of my favorites here with me. I got Showtime Sarah right here next to me for at least the last time before she heads back to North Carolina. Sadly, then of course with me live remotely is the one and only Scooter. Scooter, how you doing this lovely fine afternoon?
Couldn't be happier. It's 95 degrees in Wilmington, Delaware. Sunny.
Yeah. It's nice. It says it's 78 out there today, but it's what I like to call a warm 78. It's a little bit more toasty than what I would like for my 78 degrees to be for sure. But Sarah,
right.
how you doing?
I'm good.
You're good? Okay, good. Oh, that's good to hear that everyone's good. So, well, let's get into it. We got a busy show to get to. So if I can click on this here button here, we're going to start with a little look in the rearview mirror segment. And of course, I think that the big news from the weekend, especially for those who are most of the people that are on here that seem to be some type of Washington sports fan, is the news that the Washington Nationals, the Washington Nationals fired President of Baseball Operations Mike Rizzo and manager Dave Martinez. They did also hire Miguel Cairo as an interim manager and Mike DeBartolo Jr. as their interim GM. So we'll kind of start with this. I mean, both of these guys, Rizzo was around for 20 plus years. Martinez came in 2018 when they fired Dusty Baker, which I still think was a mistake, but I'm a Dusty Baker huge fan. So I was always bitter that he didn't get his ring with the Nats, but he did get it with the Houston Astros, so I can forgive it now. But then after 2019, Martinez really, they never had a winning season. They hadn't won more than 71 games since then. So let's start with this big whole picture thing, Scooter, and I'll let you chime in on this. Well, when you saw the news break that both were fired, what were your thoughts? Surprised, shocked, none of the above?
Well, first, let's just remember that Dusty wasn't fired. His contract ended, and they didn't re-up him. So he wasn't officially fired. He was just not re-signed. But I saw that. I was just kind of like, it's about time. Their record has been horrible since the World Series. Absolutely. They've had a 407 winning percentage. They've won 325 and 473. So it's just been pathetic. And we knew that there's going to be a little, there's going to be a tough time after that because of all the players that they lost. And actually, Rizzo did a good job on especially that James Wood trade. Whoo, is he not awesome?
Right.
But all the players they got for what's his face? Why can't I come up with his name? To San Diego.
I know exactly. Now he's in. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's with the Mets now.
Soto.
Yeah, Juan Soto. Yeah, he was amazing. He's an amazing player. But they got a really good haul out of that. So Rizzo does some good things, but and it's maybe starting to transpire. But they've lost like 10 straight games and stuff like that. It's just about time that they did it. They had 107 losses 2 seasons ago.
Right.
I mean, we knew they were going to be bad, but that's really not very good at all.
Yeah.
So they've either finished 4th or 5th in the NL East, and the time is now.
I agree. I mean, I actually kind of was surprised Martinez lasted through the comments that he made, because look, it may be correct that it's ultimately on the players, right? Like, we all know that, like, everyone knows that that's ultimately the correct, but I don't think you can sell out your players. Like, you listen to some of the great managers all times, like Tito comes to mind. Tito never sold out his players. Now, one-on-one, he might take them behind where no one else can see it and rip them a new one. But to the public, you never heard Tito say a bad word about his players. You think of even the manager out in LA, like, you never hear him publicly say anything bad about his players. And once he did that,
Dave Roberts.
Sure, I think that was the writing on the wall for him. So my question is this: do you think that it was a situation where they told Rizzo they had to fire him and Rizzo said no, and that's why he went? Because I think Ross pointed that out, and Jeff even mentioned that to me. Jeff Nail, who also is on here a lot, mentioned that to me too, about that possibility being the case where it was ultimately Rizzo was given an ultimatum, fire him or you're gone too, and he said no. Do you think there's a chance of that?
I mean, there could be a chance of that. I mean, sure, why not? But really, like, if I was the owner, I'd be like, Rizzo, you're fired too. I mean, we stink, and we keep stinking, and we have we have somewhat decent players, but it's on the ownership anyways, because they haven't really been trying to put a lot of money into trying to get some players. So it's on them too, of course, and they understand that. But I mean, it could be maybe he was asked to fire him. I imagine they were both fired at the same time. Like, we just need to change.
Yeah, I think what hurt hit Rizzo too is the fact that your two highest players on the Nats current roster don't even play for the Nats. You got Scherzer, who's retired, or excuse me, Scherzer, who's in Toronto, and you got Strasburg, who is retired, and those two guys make 38.6 million. Now, I think there's some argument to be made that Lerner's just using that as an excuse not to spend money, but it's a pretty good excuse when you got 38 million tied up on players that aren't even on the roster.
Right. It's not like the Nats are the only team that has that too. But I mean, I think we just gave Scherzer $15 million the other day.
Right.
Which is, but I mean, he won a World Series.
Yep.
And Strasburg was the World Series MVP. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's a fair trade, right? You got a World Series out of it.
I think so.
I don't think I've got a problem with now that you're paying the guy. You got a World Series out of him.
And those great fans in Milwaukee and in Cleveland, they'd probably.
I would make that trade in a heartbeat. I would make a trade to have a player eating up $15 million 5 years after a World Series to get a World Series. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Anthony brings a good point, too. Bobby Valentine did this all the time. And you're right. I think the old school managers used to call people out. But let's call it what it is. I think those days of those type of managers in every sport are kind of dwindling. I mean, the NHL, like you see these guys get fired all the time that are those old school, like a Bobby Martin type. I don't think that we could ever see a Bobby Martin type manager in Major League Baseball anymore. So it's a good point. I think that style of manager is unfortunately gone. And then this next point that he brings up, which I think is going to be good here, is, so does this mean anything for the number one pick on Thursday? And what does this mean for the future of the Nats? And Scooter, I'm going to bring up this question to you too, because I think it plays right into because you got some ideas for where the GM and the manager spot may line up. So this question's right for you too. So Scooter, do you guys think that you can get a good return for Kyle Finnegan or any other starters that might be on the trade bait? So so what do you think? Where do you think this team goes now with the number one pick on Thursday? Where do you think they go with the GM, and what does this mean for the trade deadline coming up?
Well, you get the number one pick, you got it. Which is the guy from LSU, but I mean, it's a number one pick, so you pick the best player, obviously, and so that's probably not going to change anything, which is great. As far as like trading some players, I don't know if you really do that right now. Just because, I mean, I don't believe DeBartolo is going to be the general manager when it's all said and done. So, I mean, he might do a few things here and there, depending on what the learners tell him to do, which is fine. But, I mean, I don't know how much movement we're really going to see. It's not like there's it's not like there's a whole, if you can get something for Finnegan, you can move him off.
Sure.
Because you're probably going to get something. There's probably going to be teams wanting them, but it's I wouldn't be going crazy on it.
Boss man's waving at us. Anthony says, Scooter, my prediction is you guys either choose Cade Anderson or Jamie Arnold. I think those are the top two that I've heard too.
Yeah.
Out of Bounds says the Nats screwed the pooch, and well, I'm going to say that for the good, bad, ugly segment that's coming up here of later on here of where I think the Nats are right now on that. But yeah, I do think that there's some roster issues, and until you got you got to hire the GM and then hire the manager. I assume they'll go with Cairo through the end of the year. At this point in time, there's no reason to see who else gets fired and who they can bring in. So,
Cairo's a good manager.
I think he could be.
Where is he down in
Chicago?
The White Sox. He was the White Sox. He was like
he was the interim for Tony La Russa.
Right, exactly. He was his bench coach also.
Yep. And then he took the job with the Nats after being the interim manager.
And he's Davey's bench coach, or was Davey's bench coach.
Yep.
And he was the Reds' assistant general manager also, and he headed player development.
Yep.
So he has a really good background. He was a decent player. He was on the Yankees and stuff like that. He was a decent player. Nothing too great. But he could stick around if he is able to do something.
Yeah, I think he's got to get them above 500 probably to really have a shot. 500 better. Yeah. Maybe he's got a shot at hanging around. If he does anything below that, most general managers like to bring in their own. I guess it probably depends too if the general manager is in-house or not.
Well,
So
one thing he really has to do is focus on that relief pitching. My God, like how many big games can you blow in a season?
I know
I
it's
mean,
been
we're
sad.
not even there yet, and they're horrible.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely the Achilles heel of this team for sure is the bullpen. Let's see here. Where the Martins are the other way around, we can develop elite pitching and trade it and get good hitting. Yeah, I think that's probably the Marlins. Yeah, the Marlins are another interesting team in the East where it's just like they. But look, I'm a Guards fan, so we all share in the same pot of misery here. I think, unfortunately. So, and else puts Matt and Scooter. You guys feel the Nationals are the opposite ways. The Marlins that you guys are great at developing hitters, but you have to trade for elite pitching. I don't know. Do you feel that way about the Nats? That they develop good hitters? I don't know. They even right now. I think right now the problem is that I got a couple of guys, but I don't that they've done it consistently with the hitting.
I think every once in a while they get a gem. And a few times they had multiple gems. And I mean, yeah, we're talking like, Bryce Harper, Juan
Right.
Soto, go through that. Now we have James Wood, and they didn't really develop James Wood. The Dodgers did, or the Padres did. I mean, a little bit they developed him, but I mean, Marlins is a totally different organization too. It's just like they have a problem with fan base. They're not real. Not that the Nats are that successful, but it seems like there's not a real flood of talent that wants to go down there.
Right.
However, this year we could probably get into it in the standings, but yeah, it seems to be a little different. What's going on in Miami right now, but that's for the
Okay.
next
Let's
segment
say.
there.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and push that right into this. So this is going to be called the good, bad, and the ugly for each division. And let me bring this here up here real quick. So we're going to start. We'll go just straight on by division here. This works here correctly. Look at that. Pulls up the standings right there. It's like I almost know what I'm doing. So let's start with the AL East. So here's how we'll do it. I'll go first. Scooter, you go second. Sarah, you go third. And we'll go good, bad, ugly for each one, just real quick around the board. So for my AL, and we'll see how much of these we match up on. So the AL East, my good is obviously the Toronto Blue Jays. They're in first place at 53-38. They've now got a 3.5 game lead on the Yanks. They've got an amazing offense. They're led by Kirk, my old boy Ernie Clement, who's just taken off there, which I love to see. And of course, Vlad and Springer. Their pitching is a little suspect, so I'm a little concerned about that as we move forward into the season. I would assume that you're going to try to see Toronto grab some arms at the trade deadline, but their bats more than make up for it. I'm going to put the bat actually as Boston. They're at 47-45. They trade away Devers. I'm just not really sure. I thought they would maybe be better. I'm just not really sure where they're going to go, and I didn't really get the trade. Like, it just didn't make any sense to me. My ugly is, of course, the O's. They're 40-49. I thought they'd be way better. They've been playing a little bit better ball the last 20 games, but they just dug such a big hole. I just don't see how they can climb out of it. Their pitching has also not been great. The injuries that they have been at pitching too. They just didn't really make. They're very similar to a team that I'll get to in the AL Central that seemed like they had a lot of promise and didn't add on it. So that's my good, bad, and ugly for the East. Scooter, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go good. Obviously, the Blue Jays are doing awesome. Worst to first, baby. But I mean, I'm not from Toronto, but they're going to be ultra aggressive at the trade deadline, like you said. I think they're going to do that. They're going to even get better at pitching with a team that's pitching, hitting, defense, and they're healthy. So that's really good. The good, the bad, obviously the O's. We're actually, I know, good, bad, ugly. Middle of the road. Let's just go. Okay, Yankees, Blue Jays, Red Sox. I mean, they're all within games of each other.
Right.
Horrible, ugly, bad Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles. I don't know what it's just consistent. Yeah, it's a shame too. They have really really good fans. They have a nice fan base, but I mean they're out of it. But this division is what are we in? Early July.
Yep.
So 6.5 games back for the top 4 teams, all good teams. So it's gonna be it's like the NFC East of the '80s.
Yeah, this one's one of the closer division races.
I mean,
Right
someone's
now.
got to be the Cardinals. So
Right. Sarah, what do you got?
My good would also be the Toronto Blue Jays. As you can see, they are on a 9-game win streak?
Nine games, yes.
9-game win streak. I mean, looks good on paper. They're first in the league. I'm gonna do this interesting order. The bad, I think, is the Orioles. Obviously, they are last in the league, not doing too hot. They do have a good fan base, like you said, Scooter. Like my best friend, she's a fan of them. Like I love watching their team. The ugly is the New York Yankees.
I knew you were going to say the Yankees.
Well, not even just because of like my bias against them, but they were on a 6-game losing streak. I mean, they could be in first right now if they didn't have that streak. Sure, they just won that game against the Mets, but I mean, the Mets are still a hot team. I don't think they even won that series. They just only got 1 game out of it. I mean, it kind of brings concern to like what's going on. Well, what happened there? Like the Yankees are ugly. Everything.
I agree. All right, so Anthony's got some comments here on these two. We'll get to. He talks about Anthony Rendon. Yeah, that's another guy that. Well, maybe getting away from that contract was a good thing for the Nats, right? Because he has not done anything. At the time, you're like, oh my God, they let him go, and then he is just another. That's a contract that saddled the Angels for sure.
Yeah, he was one of those players that they hit on. Yeah, it was that group they hit on a whole bunch of them.
Yep. Then Anthony puts, I think Toronto's going to come back down to earth. I don't think they're as good as their record portrays them to be. Their offense talent is carrying them. The pitching has a weakness. I agree. The pitching is definitely a weakness. The one thing, too, that the Toronto does do well, they field the ball. They play great defense. They got Miles in center field. They also got, of course, Jimenez from Cleveland, who is Gold Glove at second base. He can't bat for anything, but if the ball's hit towards second base, he's catching it. So I don't know. I don't know that Toronto's going to come. I think they're going to make the playoffs. New York may come back to them, for the division, but I think Toronto's going to make the playoffs, for sure. So that is our AL East. Let's go to the Central. My good is, of course, the best team in baseball. I saw them 2 of the 3 games. It's the Detroit Tigers. And they are kind of the opposite. They are built on pitching, and more pitching. I got to see Scooble on Sunday. The dude is just amazing. He's lights out. I think he could not only win the Cy Young, I think he should be up for MVP talk. He's 11-2 with a near 2 ERA, which is just unheard of in today's game. They got 3 other starters that have amazing ERAs. They got the best closer right now in baseball too, and they got enough hitting to go along with it. Riley Green's been good. Torkelson's got a revision. Javi Baez has come back. That team is loaded for the long haul. The bad is, of course, the Chicago White Sox. You can't be 30-61 and not be bad. They're just unbelievably terrible. My ugly is, unfortunately, my Cleveland Guardians offense. They just finally got off of a 10-game losing streak. In that 10-game losing streak, they were shut out 3 times. In 2 other games, they only scored a run. Of their 18 players that have taken at bats, 18 players, 9 of them, 9 have a batting average of 170 or lower. 9. Half of their players have a batting average of 170 or lower. If it wasn't for Jose Ramirez and Steven Kwan, who knows how bad this team would be. It's basically been Jose. I mean, Jose won the game last night with basically a 3-run homer and 2 other hits. He saved the losing streak from getting up to 11. So those are my 3 there. Scooter, what you got?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the Tigers. I mean, they're crushing it out there. They're like the Detroit Pistons. It's like, where'd they come from? But the Tigers, like the improvement from last year to this year, they were .531 winning percentage last year at the end of the season. Now they're .630. I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's over 100. Insane. You're talking about their pitching. They're actually 4th in Major League Baseball in runs a game too. So
Yep.
They're hitting. But yeah, I would say the bad is obviously the White Sox. They still have a team out there, I heard. But I mean, 30 wins isn't very good. So, but ugly, I guess, would be Cleveland. But Minnesota and Kansas City aren't doing. They're not doing too well either. But Cleveland should be a lot better, and they aren't. So there you are. You would know.
Just not getting rough enough runs for that pitching. The pitching's been fine. The starting pitchers have been great. Their bullpen's not been as good as last year, but they had such an amazing bullpen last year. It's going to be hard to duplicate that like they did last year. But
Yeah.
But when you're not scoring, when you're only scoring 1 run or 2 runs a game, it's just hard to win. Sarah, what do you got for the Central?
I mean, look good. It's obvious the Tigers. Well, hello, P-Bum. I mean, they're the top team in the league. It looks like they've basically secured the number 1 in the Central right now. I mean, that's a 14-game lead.
14 games.
Like, and that's just from the 2nd seed. So for my bad, just put the Royals, Twins, and Guardians in there because this is like the least competitive division that's going on right now. How are you 14 games behind? I mean, you would have to hope for a huge losing streak or a huge winning streak for either the Tigers or the Royals. I mean, the Twins are right there behind them, but I mean, it's just like, how how did we get here? I mean, God, the ugly, the White Sox, 27.5 games behind. I mean, just call them out at this point. That is a devastation. Just the Central League is super messy right now, other than the Tigers.
Let's see. Anthony says, I think Detroit's another abbreviation to be honest. I think they're just a lucky streak for them. I think they're coming back down to earth. I don't agree with that, Anthony, because if you remember after the trade deadline, last year they made all these moves where you thought they were sellers, and then they got off to this great, amazing finish. They made the playoffs. They beat Houston. Yeah. They took Cleveland to 5 games, and they picked right up where that is left off. Pitching always wins, and they have pitching. So unless barring an injury to one of their starters, I just don't see it because their starters can go 5 or 6 deep. That one, I'm just not sure. Toronto, I could see because I agree with you about the pitching. I just don't agree with you though on this one. I think they are too. I think Detroit is loaded. And like Sarah said, they've got a 14-game lead. They could screw up for 2 weeks and be fine, and that they're going to win the Central Division, barring a complete collapse. They're going to make the playoffs. And when you get to these 3 and 5 game series, and you got Skubal every 1 or 2 games, that's not good for the rest of the league.
They have secured.
All right. Anything else on the Central, Scooter? Are you good?
No, it just about said it all.
All right. So then we go to the AL West. Houston is my good. They're 55-36 every year. Every year I think this is the year that Houston's done, and then every year they're in first place. Like they're just really good. I don't know how far they'll get in the playoffs, but they just never slide back down. They're getting great at bats from Pena and Paredes. Their starters are good too. They're probably second to Detroit as far as starting pitching goes in the AL right now. My bad is the A's. They have a bad record at 37-55. They play in a AAA stadium that's just awful. It's just a shame. They should still be the Oakland A's. I'm sorry. Like that stadium's a joke. They don't even have batting cages for the players. They got to walk out to the outfield when the game's over. It's just a nightmare out there. Then my ugly is going to be the Texas Rangers because again, they're 2 years removed from a World Series final. They're 44-47. They still got the roster. They just don't seem to ever be able to put it back together again to be competitive. So that's my ugly for the AL West. Scooter, what do you got?
Well, I mean, the Astros, they're actually better this year than last year, I think. Statistically speaking, they are also. But, I mean, like you said, my God. I mean, they'll probably not go anywhere in the playoffs or they'll win the whole World Series. But it's either or. So we don't have to talk about them. Now, the bad, obviously, is the Athletics. Yeah, they're going through a thing. And they're not. Considering what's going through, they have several young players who are doing quite well and better than they should be. So there is that. I do want to say, I don't want to say a good, bad, and ugly. I guess the Rangers would be, but I want to look at the Angels. Mike Trout's healthy. That young pitcher, you say Kalochi. I mean, he's really crushing it. And look at their percentage. They were 389 last year. This year they're 489.
They have been better.
They are better. So that could be a team on the rise. Who knows?
We'll see. I agree. Sarah, what do you got for the AL West?
My salt's gonna run deep. I'm gonna say the good is the Mariners. Not gonna mention you know what. The Mariners I always see is like a 50-50 team. So whenever I see that their ranking is doing right now better than a 50-50, I'm thinking good for them. Like I don't really know much of the pieces they have. I do know they have a lot of good offense.
Rodriguez, Cal Raleigh, the catchers leading the league in homers.
Yep, like they got a lot of good pieces there for them. So I'm actually kind of happy to see that they're doing good because they are a team. I've seen them play before. Like I think it's fun seeing them play. My bad, I will say the Angels. While yes, they have a decent record. I mean, they're still just a little behind in the league, but their difference is a -48. What's going on there? Is their offense lacking out? Like what's going on? My ugly. Why do you have it like that? I can't.
I went to the wild card to see.
Oh, okay.
Seattle would make the playoffs today. They got a 2-game. They got a 2-game lead in the wild card.
Like they usually maybe are a wild card team. So I mean that knowing that they have a 2-game lead right now, like that's good. The ugly obviously would be the Athletics. I've heard so much of what's going on with that team, and I really wish, like, I know, like, the fans are super upset about it. Like, I really wish they can do something to fix it, but it is looking more.
They're going to Vegas. They built the stadium and everything.
No, but it's just disappointing. I mean, it's heartbreaking in a way, but it's ugly.
Yes, we agree. All right, a few comments here. We got a Go Yanks shout out there, so I'll get that Go Yanks shout out there as we need to. Anthony, I will get to your other comment here in a second here because you got a comment in here about the NL West. So I will save that for when we get to the NL West. So let's go with the NL East. The good is obviously the Phillies they're in first at 53-38. This division has got two teams right there neck and neck with the Mets. I actually don't think the Phillies have even played that good yet. So that's why I'm putting them in my good, because they're up by a game, and I really don't think that they've even hit their stride yet. Like the hitters still aren't quite there. They've been getting some good pitching from Wheeler, who made the All-Star game. Of course, Schwarber's in the All-Star game, but Harper's not quite even there yet. They got a couple other guys that are still not there yet. My bad is actually going to be the Atlanta Braves. They're sitting there at 39-50, and they got Acuna back. Like, they've got some of these guys back, and they just are still struggling. So that's going to be my bad. And I'm sorry, my ugly is the Nats. We talked about it earlier. Yes, they're sitting there at 37-53, but I feel bad because they're my second favorite team. They're my favorite NL team. But I have no idea where this team is going right now. I don't, I think they've got, like I always do when I came there last year and saw them play against the Guards, I'm like, this team's got some young pieces. Like, they should be putting this together now, and they just aren't yet. So let's see. Maybe a new GM and a new manager gets the right things in place. But for right now, they're my ugly of the NL East.
With you on that. Let's see. Philadelphia, obviously. Philly's just good team. They got everything. Look, I mean, they're doing well when Bryce Harper's injured. So, I mean, when you're going to do better without Bryce than with him,
Right.
and you're doing well with him. That's a good team right there. The Mets. Greet the Mets, meet the Mets. They're the Mets. They're doing really well this year. They keep saying Juan Soto stinks. But I mean, they got 52 wins right now. Juan Soto stinks, and they have 52 wins. So go,
Right.
Go Mets, go.
Frankie Lindor.
Yeah, Frankie Lindor, right? Awesome. Now look at this. The Marlins, where are they coming from? They were 383 last year. Now they're 461. So they're a team with improvement. And we were talking about the Marlins earlier. Now the Marlins, here we go. Would you guys have the Marlins in good because they're 7-3 in the last 10? Yeah. The Marlins are looking good. I'm not saying they're going to make the playoffs this year. They could. They give a nice little push there too. But organizationally around, they have kind of righted the ship. They have good minor league system. They have good business operations. They need more fans and they need to win more games. That's it. But I mean, they're getting there.
Agree.
Oh, and then of course, the Nats are the Nats, but the Braves. I would put the Braves as the ugly because come on, you're the Braves. You should do better than that. Brian Snicker should have a Snickers or something like that. I actually got Brian's. Okay, so get this. Years ago at West Palm Beach, I went to the West Palm Beach Braves, and it was during spring training, and they had a young pitcher named John Smoltz. Had no idea who he was, and their catcher, he was their bullpen catcher. He signed the ball with John Smoltz. I wound up giving that ball to one of my best friends who's a Braves fan later in life. But the other guys was Brian Snicker. No one knew who Brian Snicker was until like 3 years ago. But that's my little Snickers story.
I like that. There, you got anything on the East to add, or?
I mean, my good is probably the Phillies. The Mets are close behind. You could almost put them as a duo. I mean, one game behind is super competitive right there. Looks like the Phillies are doing a little bit better. They were on a little bit of a on and off losing streak. Who were they playing? They were playing somebody.
Who was it?
Phillies. They're playing.
They just play. I can't remember now.
Yeah, but they were on and off. It seems like in that series.
Cincy.
Yeah, they were on and off with Cincy, so probably held them back a little bit. But I would put those as my good. The Phillies and the Mets. The bad. I mean, I was kind of thinking about putting Miami because they still have that negative 67 differential. I mean, it looks like they are getting somewhat better with the 7-3 last 10. but I mean, there's still something going on, whether it's maybe their offense, but it looks like they are still trying to figure out the pieces. And of course, the ugly is the Nats. I mean, I don't know much about baseball and what's going on with this GM thing. All I know is what Max Rizzo. I don't know.
Rizzo.
What?
Rizzo's the last name.
Yeah, but
Rizzo the
like,
Rat.
isn't there a Max
Rizzo.
Rizzo?
I don't know. There's a Max Rizzo.
Bring
Oh,
all your
see how-
glasses
see how
and
I-
your shoes.
So like I only know a little bit, but I mean it does sound like it is self-destruct at this point. Tank for the first, as they are.
Anthony says it feels like you guys are just choosing obvious teams that are good. I'm surprised you're not choosing a surprise team in each division that you're not expecting to be that good. I don't really know that there is a surprise team that's good this year that, like as far as that are in the playoff mix right now. I mean, like if you go at the AL, I don't think anyone's surprised that it's Toronto, New York. I don't think it's anyone surprised that Detroit's in first. I don't really think anyone's surprised that Houston's in first.
Well, I think the Toronto thing is a surprise. I mean, if we go into the season, that's a big time surprise. But
I guess it's fun. If you remember at the beginning of the year when I did when we did the previous show, I had Toronto as my team.
Oh, you're the man then.
I thought that they had a good thing going there.
Yeah.
So maybe to me, there's not really a good surprise. I would even say the same thing in the NL. Like the teams that are up top are the teams that I thought were going to be there. Maybe the Giants would maybe be my surprise team, but we haven't gotten to the NL West yet, so we'll save that one.
I mean, the only surprise team I kind of mentioned was Seattle. But
Yeah,
I mean,
but even Seattle, I think, was supposed to be in the playoffs, like with the roster they had. So I don't. There's just a lot of mediocrity, I think, in baseball. So the teams that are good are good. The teams that are bad. So I think that's part of it. And Anthony puts in here, I'm not talking about in terms of looking at the record of the last. And yeah, no, I agree. I know where you're coming from on it. It's just I don't think that I don't know that there's really that many. There's that surprise team that is. There's a few teams like we've talked about that are doing better than we thought they were going to be, but I don't know they're necessarily good. Like they're better, but are they good? Like, and I don't know that they are. I guess that's where I get to. So
they have good streaks and they have bad streaks.
And it kind of gets to the NL Central. So we'll get into that now. I mean, it's hard to not say the good is the Chicago Cubs. They scored 492 runs. That would maybe be my surprise team. I thought the Cubs could be good this year. I didn't think they were going to be 54-36 good. So that would be my team that I would be if I was going to say is the surprise. It's the Cubs in the sense that I just didn't see them being this good. I mean, PCA has been unbelievable. Suzuki's leading the league in RBIs, yet he's not in the All-Star game, so figure that one out. Kyle Tucker has been great. Matt Boyd, coming off of his injury, has been lights out for them along with the other starters. And my bad and the ugly are the same because in the division where you've got four teams that are above 500, it's hard to call one of them bad. So I'm going to put the Pittsburgh Pirates as my bad and ugly because they just are always never good. They've been a little bit better of late. They did go on a little bit of a winning streak. I know they won 6 in a row, but now they've lost 4 in a row. And before that, they were just dreadful when they fired their manager. So I'm still going to put the Pirates as my bad and ugly for the NL Central. Scooter, your turn.
Well, obviously, I mean the Cubs. They had a .512 winning percentage last year. They're 600 exactly right now. So hell of an improvement. Unbelievable out there. Those guys are killing it, especially Pete Crow Armstrong. 20 home runs, 20 steals. I think it's the fastest Cub to ever do that for both at the same time. I mean, even more impressive are his parents. Pete Crow Armstrong's parents. If you're not familiar with this is great. So both his parents are actors. His mother, both actually were in the TV show Heroes together. That's how they met. Actually, they were actors before. They met before that. I'm sorry, but they went in there. But his mother, Ashley, she was the mother in the movie Little Big League.
Okay.
Which is just like, well, talk about crazy. And now her son is arguably the best player of the Cubs. And the Cubs haven't been this good since they won the World Series with my hopeful for the new Nats general manager.
Scott, we do not talk about 2016 on the show.
Well, I'm just telling you.
That World Series never happened.
Well, Davey Martinez, who was just fired, will tell you differently.
No. That one never happened. Real quick, you watched baseball long enough in the last 5 years this early on. What team can you remember having a higher differential the Cubs have? I don't think there has, but yeah, they're at 126. They've scored 492, only given up 366. It's crazy how good they are, and yet they're still not talked about as one of the best teams in baseball because we'll get to the NL West, and I think that's why.
Yeah. Well, let's look at the Brewers. Brewers, having a good time up there, but obviously like the Cardinals. the Reds. I think the Reds are they're gonna choke and they're gonna go quicker than the Titanic did soon. And Terry Francona will be fired, and it won't be his fault. Just he'll get fired and then he'll be available.
I think Tito's got a longer leash than that. I think he's got more than a year there, though. But we'll see. Sarah, what do you got? So you want to roll through these because we still got hockey to get to. It's already it's 5:40. We got a hard out at 6 today.
The Cubs, I would say, is obviously the good. I mean, the record, the percentage, differential, it's insane. I mean, we watched who were they playing? They were playing somebody. They were playing the Nope, it's blanking on me. They were playing somebody and they scored 10 runs, and it was like and it was a certain amount of number that like they've had 10 runs or over. So it's just crazy stats. The bad, see, it's kind of hard to say because all of them they got. Other than the Pirates, everybody's got an over 50-50 percentage. I guess my bad would just be the Cards because they got the lower difference right now. I mean, like you think the Reds will choke, Scooter. I'm probably thinking the Cards will choke. I just don't hear that many stories of how they're good. Like, what do they have? Do they have good offense? Do they have good defense? Do they have good pitching? I don't know anybody on that team. Like, I just don't hear any stories about how the Cards are doing. So I'll put them as my bad. And then obviously the ugly would be the Pirates. You just don't. A 17 game behind, like it's messy. They don't usually do good.
I agree. All right. So Anthony had this comment earlier. I told him I put it up when we got to the NL West. He thinks the deepest division in Major Leagues is the NL West. I think the Dodgers will win that division. All 3 wildcard teams come out the West in the NL. And I don't disagree with that. I think for sure that is a strong possibility as of right now. 2 of them would because the Mets, you got the Phillies and Mets, so probably one of those will get in, but I could see maybe all 3 still getting in from the West. But you got San Fran, San Diego, and Arizona's kind of kicking there at 45 and 46. That they're an interesting team. We'll see. So my good is the LA Dodgers. I mean, look, they're not really surprised, but they're good. So we'll just say that they're 56 and 36. And I'll throw in a secondly good of the San Francisco Giants, which is a surprise team to me as well. I thought they'd be okay, but I didn't expect them maybe to be 50 and 42. They're still 6 games out of first. They're hanging around in the wild card race. So that's going to be my good. And I think the Padres are kind of more my bad right now because I think they should be better than 48 and 42. They've got a really good roster. They got decent pitching. I think they should be a little bit better than where they're at right now. But we'll see. And of course, the ugly is the Colorado Rockies. I mean, hey, they're up to 21 wins, but they're still giving Chicago a run from last year for being one of the worst teams ever. And there's nothing attractive. They've got no young players really. They've got nothing to. It's just bleak in Colorado. Scooter, what do you got?
Well, Dodgers are the Dodgers World Series champs, so I mean, whatever. I think the Giants when they were 494 winning percentage to 543. Very good improvement. Their bullpen leads the major league in ERA, which is outstanding. Obviously, the Rockies are pathetic. They went from a 377 winning percentage. Right now, they're at 231. So congrats, but they're not going to get the record. The team I'm actually kind of a little surprised to have right now, but I think they're going to put a push are the Diamondbacks. They also, their special assistant to the general manager's name is Jason McLeod, who's my pick to be the Nationals general manager next year. When he got there, he took a team that had in 2021, they were 52 and 10. 52 and 110. In 2022, they had 74 wins. 23, they had 84 wins. They had a successful run in the playoffs. Last year, they had 89 wins. So you see that build. And right now, they're on pace for 80. So I think there's going to be a push at the end, and the Diamondbacks are going to be that surprise team that really does well. And Jason McLeod's going to get that call by the learners, and he's going to be the next general manager.
I like it.
The Nationals.
Bold prediction. We like bold predictions. Andy puts in, I think Colorado ends up losing 140 games this year. It's possible. I mean, they're at 21 and 70 right now. So it's. I think it is the record. I think the White Sox beat it last year, but I just cannot remember where they're at. And I think the new Nationals general manager is giving me the head of the scouting department for the Dodgers. That could be too. I can't remember his name either, but that's a possibility. All right. You got anything to add on the NL West?
We'll go quick. Good Giants. I don't hate the Dodgers. It's not on my hate list, as you would call it. I'm just tired of the dynasty they're having. Like, I'm just kind of board. So I'm gonna put good as the Giants because I mean they are doing pretty good. Only 6 games behind. They still got a pretty good chance to make it into the playoffs. Bad, I would just say the Diamondbacks. Sure, they are getting closer, but it's just a little how good the other 3 teams are doing. They gotta really step it up, which it looks like they are. And then obviously the athlete is the Colorado Rockies. God save them.
I agree. All right, real quick. So we got a little bit of time left here. Let's do our drive to the net segment. There was a little bit of hockey stuff we need to finalize and get done. This was kind of, we knew that DeAndre Miller was going to the Carolina Hurricanes. We didn't have the details when we went off the air. It ends up being a first and second round pick. The first round pick is protected. It's next year. The Carolina Hurricanes have 2. What'd I say? DeAndre? Oh. Oops.
DeAndre on there too.
I did put DeAndre. I don't know what KAndre. KD, all the same. It's just a letter. All right. But anyway, first, second round pick is, and then, of course, the young defenseman, Scott Morrow. Trades like this have worked out well for these 2 teams. If you remember 5 years ago, they traded away Fox to the Rangers because he wasn't going to sign with the Canes. They got Brady Shea, who had 5 really good years. So we'll see how this game goes. This is the exact type of player that the Canes need. He is a fierce defenseman. He does have some offensive capabilities, and he's got a little bit of grit to him. They then turn it right around and sign him to an 8-year, $6 million a year deal. Overall, I'm really happy for the Canes with this move. I think it's a good move for them, and it adds some much needed grit. Scooter, you got any thoughts on the trade?
Yeah, I want to say it actually, this is good for both teams. This works out well for both teams. KAndre is only 25 years old. He could score 10 goals as a defenseman. He can move the puck if he needs to, and he can score if he needs to. And he has. He scored 8-9 goals in seasons before. He can be a piece of that defensive puzzle that they not puzzle, but you know what I mean. For the Hurricanes, because they already have arguably the best defenseman in the league with a really good surrounding bunch of other defense, and so he'll probably be on that second line. The defensive pairing is my guess. He's $7.5 million a year. It's expensive, so it's an expensive piece to that puzzle. But then the Rangers, they get Scott Morrow. He's young. He's a depth defenseman. But they also get a first and second round pick. That helps. That's kind of the thing that they needed, and dump a little of that salary. So helps both teams. Can't argue with it, either of it.
Exactly. Sarah, what do you think as a fellow Canes fan?
I mean, this is a good pick. Like, this is a good trade. I mean, getting him for 8 years, 7.5, and we still had room, which we'll get into that later, what that room was for. But I mean, our general manager Tulsky, I mean, I doubted him at first once Waddle went to Columbus, but he's been great for us. I mean, he's made some awesome people who you thought, why are you interested in him? And then they turn out being great. Like, I mean, the Stink extension, it's just everything is working out pretty good for us. I'm proud of the moves that we've made.
And Anthony puts in here what hurts Carolina Hurricanes is they don't have a superstar on that team when it comes to scoring, which I agree with that they don't have the true top 10 superstar, but it kind of leads perfectly into what was the biggest name still left, because the Carolina Hurricanes then turn around and add the biggest fish that was in the sea as far as other than Marner. I mean, obviously Marner's 1, but I think Ehlers was 2 with the fact that Florida was able to re-sign everybody. So, and they get them. I think that kind of hurt Washington, which we'll get into that a little bit too, because those were the top 2 teams I think that were there. They get him for 6 years, $8.5 million. So it does add a score to go with Aho, which I think they need, and of course Fetch and some other the guys that have come along. Brett Burns leaves Carolina, which was expected. With the young guy and the Shishkin coming in, and then of course once they added Miller, there really wasn't a spot left for Burns. He goes to Colorado on a 1-year, $1 million a year deal, could get up to 4. Andrew Mangiapane does leave Washington to go to Edmonton on a 2-year, $3.6. Pius Suter leaves to go to St. Louis, who had a really good offseason, 2 years for $4.13. And then Dmitry Orlov, another former Washington Capital, then went to Carolina, goes to San Jose. San Jose, for some reason, is giving him $6 million a year for 2 years. It's just crazy. And that was really the last of the big name free agents that were left that won out and about. Scooter, any thoughts on where this goes to? And we'll get into the caps in a little bit. So if you want to say your thoughts on Mangiapane leaving for that, that's fine. But any thoughts on any of the other guys?
Yeah, so I'll run it down real quick. Ellis, I mean, really good. The Capitals were kind of in the running for him, but 6 years they probably went down to either years or amount because that's a lot of money. But that's a really good pick for Carolina. So good on their part. Brett Burns, whatever. He's 950. But that's a good deal. You can get $4 million a year. Way to go. Andrew Mangiapane. You can just look at Edmonton. All the players they lost. They were one of the losers in my opinion to free agency. Mangiapane had a good season, and that worked out well for him. But it was expected that he'd probably move on. Sutter, very good player, awesome.
Yeah.
He probably deserves a little more than that. Or I don't mind a 2 year. I mean, $6 million is a lot. It's only 2 years. They'll probably cut him anyways or trade him. They'll probably just trade him
I think
at the
so.
trade deadline.
Could
Like
be.
the Rangers are like be in it, and they'll like we'll trade for him.
Exactly. Yeah, could be. I wouldn't surprise me at all. Sarah, what are your thoughts? I know you like the Ehlers signing like I did, being a Canes fan. But
I do like it. Anthony, to what you said, we don't need a star player to score for us. We have multiple players that we can depend on for our scoring. We don't need to focus on just one. I mean, if we did, it would probably be Aho. But we have so many depth in our offense. The only issue is our goaltending. We do not have stable goaltending. I love Freddie. He's solid when he is, but when he gets injured, it's terrible. So I kind of wish we did make a move for our goaltender. We did have our third line, Spencer Martin. He signed in Russia, I think.
Yeah.
So we still do have, obviously.
If you guys get hurt, we're in trouble.
Yeah, basically, like, and we did draft a goalie in the draft. Like, we're trying to make steps. We did sign 2 guys. We got one guy from
AHL guys.
Yeah, well, his AHL guys. So we are trying to work on our third string goalies just in case one of our goalies do get injured. But Ehlers, it's a great pick. The only thing is trying to see if we could do something with KK because I don't think he's a great 2C spot maybe. But I mean, depending on what we do with KK, I think we'll work things out. Burns, I'll miss you, dude. But his defense was getting a little bit rocky. I mean, he wasn't as bad in the playoffs as people do say, or as other Canes fans do say. I think he still played solid, but I mean, his age is getting up to him. I do wish maybe he might come back and retire for us because he said a lot of good things about Carolina. And of course, Slavin, I mean, he's one of the best defense in the league right now. Don't really know much about Mangiapane. I think the Suter pick is also the Suter trade is also, or no, it's just signing. I don't know what I'm even talking about. I think that's also a very good offer. I mean, I think it'll be very successful for St. Louis. I think it's exactly the player they need. Orlov, I also miss you, but I cannot believe you got $6 million at San Jose. I mean, they got room for it, but if he wanted $6 million of us, I get why we didn't re-sign him.
Yeah, but he's gonna be great trade bait.
And
they're going to get like a second round and a player. They're going to get something. So it's actually when that happens, you'll be like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But I get it right now.
We're not right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I get it right now. I understand.
Anthony, you got a comment in here about Florida. I'll get to that when we get to the winners and losers of free agency because I think it'll fit in well with that. So let's talk a little. I know we got a lot of Caps fans out there, so real quick, Scooter, Caps, better or worse now that free agency and the draft is over? What do you think?
Well, I mean, better way. I mean, they kind of stood still there, right? So they didn't. I don't want to say they improved much, but it's not like they got worse. I think teams got closer or better. How's that? Like I think Carolina, you'd have to jump them above Washington on the tier because they got better, obviously. I think Washington's. I mean, they just signed Sheldon Rempel, Hendrix Lapierre, Anthony Bouvillier, which was a good signing. He had a good season last year, but the other players are for kind of mid-level kind of stuff like that. So they have $4 million left in their salary cap right now. So they have something to play with so look at possible trades in the future, which could include Carlson, who's got $8 million on his contract this year. He's the UFA at the end. So, or Trevor Van Riemsdyk, $3 million. Sonny Milano's got $2 million. I like Brandon Duhaime, but you could move him. These are all UFAs next summer. And I mean, Ovi is $10 million. You're not moving that. You're not touching that. So he doesn't get traded, but he is a UFA at the end of the year. So I think they didn't improve, but they didn't get worse. Middle of the line.
I kind of agree with you. I don't think that they're better or worse. I think they're just kind of there. You know, they didn't really have a lot of cap space, and they tried to go on Ehlers. And look, Ehlers took 2 or 3 days to make a decision in an already thin free agent market. When you have to, when you're holding out money hoping for a guy like that, and then you don't get him, you're kind of stuck. And so I think unfortunately that's kind of where they're at too. You got any thoughts on the Caps? Better, worse, same?
Probably the same. There wasn't really, I mean, obviously, I'm sure Majapani hurts, but it's not I'm sure you guys can make it up somewhere.
Yeah.
It'll be made up.
Exactly. So this gets into our winners, losers. And so Anthony puts in here, you guys, like most hockey fans, say the NHL should be investigating the Panthers for what they did. No, I have not heard that, unless it's just bitter NHL hockey fans. I think anyone that's in the know is kind of more just shocked that they were able to land all three. Now, I will say this for Florida. They are currently sitting over the cap.
Yes,
so,
they're $2 million under.
Right. They're going to have to make a move, and I think it's probably going to be Evan Rodriguez that's going to get shipped.
They're going to have to make maybe multiple. They may have to do multiple moves to make things work out.
They still only have Bob signed under the contract. They picked up the guy from Colorado or from Columbus, Terkasov, who will be their backup, but he's an RFA, so they still got to get him signed. So there's going to be some moves that Florida has to make to get back under the cap. But as far as them re-signing it, it just goes to show again, Bill Zito is the best general manager in hockey. There's no doubt about it. So
give the best general manager in hockey award to the guy from Dallas.
Right, exactly. I mean, that makes all the sense in the world that he got that he didn't get that award.
Scooter, would you like trying to get Rodriguez? Would you like that? Or
he's a really good player. He's a really good piece of a puzzle, if you will.
That could be a good.
I could see that. So one of my winners is obviously Florida, because somehow they didn't lose any of those guys. So they're a winner just because the best team in hockey didn't lose a major piece of the puzzle. They lost some minor guys, but you keep all three of them, you're a winner. Mm-hmm. For right now, I'm going to put Carolina as a winner because they got the second best available player. They added Miller. It's a good fit. They might still be there. My team that improved a lot is going to be Utah. I really like the moves that Utah made in adding JJ Patrica, Nate Schmidt, Brandon Tanev, and adding Vanacek as a backup goalie. I think they made a lot of good moves to be competitive in the West. My losers are Colorado. They lost a lot. They lost Coyle, Drew, and Lindgren and Wood, and they only added Brett Burns. So I think that they could see some. My other team that I think is going to be a loser is Pittsburgh, because they just didn't really do anything. And Pittsburgh is one of those, like, Pittsburgh used to be the powerhouse as far as getting guys and being active on free agency day. And they didn't really do anything. And that's a team that's not a playoff team. And they didn't make any moves to get in the playoffs. So that's going to be my losers team. Scott, what do you got?
I mean, I would go, obviously, Florida again. I mean, what's up with that? But Florida, Utah, Carolina, absolutely, 100%. I think other teams like Anaheim, Montreal, and Vegas, they did it. Even you could look at the Blues. Your chip may be different on it, but I think the Blues did okay.
They did. I agree.
Yeah, I think. And the losers, Edmonton, absolutely, 100%. I mean, they have to start getting rid of stuff if they want to pay the guy. Toronto, I think they lost it. They didn't do that well. Winnipeg. So those are three good teams that I think are going to fall down the ladder a little bit, if you will.
Yep. The West is open. I think there's going to be some. I think we'll see some shuffling in the West for sure.
Yeah. And I think Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh could be on there. I'm sorry, but you're right. So Pittsburgh could be on there, but I think they're pulling a Brad Pitt and they're tanking. I mean, they're gonna tank it like Fury. No one's business.
Yeah, they might be. I can't disagree.
World War II movie reference.
Sarah, what you got? Anything?
I mean, obviously, I think Carolina's a hot talk right now with how good. I think a lot of people realizing how good our GM is getting at. I mean, Stank extension. You got Ehlers, and now you got the Miller. I think it's looking pretty good for us. Obviously, I would still like to work on our goaltending a little bit, but I mean, we got a couple good. We strengthened our defense, and now we got a pretty good offensive line going on with us too. So I'll be proud of it. Losers, it's kind of hard to say. I would say Pittsburgh is probably in the running for them. My concern is I didn't really see Minnesota doing much.
No,
they didn't. I mean, they've been a wild card, slightly out of the playoffs team, but they just haven't really advanced. I mean, they lost Fleury. Like, they don't. I just feel like it's going to be very interesting to see how Minnesota plays this year, considering that they didn't really do much. I mean, I feel like you try to get better, and they're just kind of, maybe they're comfortable with being a wild card team right now. I think it is interesting to mention how LA and Anaheim are doing. Anaheim had a lot of movement going on, getting Kreider and then losing Zegras and then adding some others, I think they did. And in LA, they've added a bunch too. But it's weird because they're doing like a little veteran thing, like getting 30-year-old guys for, I guess, maybe the end until they retire. It'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
Agree. All right, so that we'll see if there's. I don't know. There's going to be much more in the NHL, so we'll see. There's probably going to be.
There are rumors that the Evgeny Kuznetsov might make a comeback. Last year he was at in the K with SKA St. Petersburg. Where does he go? The Canadians, I think. Montreal would be perfect.
Montreal had a good off season too. I didn't put them as a winner or loser, but they're going to be good there for sure. Let's see, we already covered all that. All right, so this is going to be our new segment. Summer road trip. So this comes up. Today's theme. That doesn't always have to be sports related. We will do some sports stuff as we do this, but part of the summer is going on some road trips. It means maybe doing more than just sports. So yesterday, of course, we hit Cedar Point. Now look, Cedar Point is 45 minutes from our home. There's no better place if you like roller coasters than Cedar Point. Let's just get that out of the way. They have 14 of them. If you like roller coasters, Cedar Point is the place to go. So that's going to bring us up to the top 5 roller coasters. Now, keep in mind, these are only roller coasters I've been on. So there are some parks, that I haven't been to. So the main ones that I've been to are Busch Gardens and both down in Tampa, and of course in Williamsburg, Kings Dominion, Kings Island. I've been out to Barry Knott's. I've been up to Canada Wonderland, and of course all the stuff in Orlando. So in order for it to be on there, that's got to be it. So I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to put up these first one. Quick honorable mentions to Fury 325 at Carowinds, Maverick at Cedar Point, the Beast at Kings Island, Volcano Blast coaster at Kings Dominion, Valraven and Griffin, which is basically the same type of coaster, though that's at Cedar Point and Busch Gardens. So those are my honorable mentions. Number 5 is the Kraken at SeaWorld Orlando. It's a great little roller coaster at SeaWorld. It's one of those no floor ones, so your feet are hanging. It's got a great color theme, decent height and inversions. Scooter, did you do a top 5, or did you just go with a big one at the end?
I didn't do a top 5. I did a historically unbelievable, great one that we can find, like Ben. I can make Ben Conti happy. But by the way, the Kraken at SeaWorld, that's where they filmed the great Jaws 3D starring Dennis Quaid and Louis Gossett Jr.
I did not know that. Number 4, Apollo's Cherry at Busch Gardens in Williamsburg. This one is kind of an elevated seat ride, so it's kind of a neat feel to it. Gets up to 73 miles per hour. It's a long coaster. It's over 2 minutes long, so I love that ride. Number 3, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. It's a unique coaster in that one is you're actually sitting on a motorcycle. The other one, you're in like the little the sidecar area. It goes forwards, it goes backwards. There's a spot where you just drop straight down. Like, it's got everything. It's a great little ride. I love it. Now I get Cedar Point heavy. Number 2, Millennium Force at Cedar Point. This bad boy gets up to 310 feet is the first hill. You're going at 93 miles an hour. It's a nice long track on your view up the first hill. You got a great view of Lake Erie and the bay. You just can't beat it. So those are the top 2 going into there. So before I review my number 1, because I have a tie at number 1, Scooter, go ahead with your number 1.
Okay, so it's all about the amusement park itself. Lake Compounds. Never heard of it, have you? So
No.
it was opened in 1846, and it's the oldest continuously operating amusement park in the United States. It's named after a Tungus chief named John Compound. And by the way, it's in the great town of Bristol, Connecticut. Perhaps you've heard of it, which is not far, I should say, from the capital city, Hartford, Connecticut. But they have one mega thing called the Wildcat. That's the 14th oldest wooden roller coaster in the world. Lots of turns, it hurts, it's a rough ride. However, in the 80s, they built this 20,000 seat kind of auditorium. I got to see and got a picture with Huey Lewis of the News. It was unbelievable. One of the great things, I have a picture somewhere, have no idea. But famously, music-wise, this is where Milli Vanilli went on stage live on
Before
MTV, and it was the
the
first
last
time
one?
that they were accused of lip syncing
Yes, I
because
remember
their
that.
lips weren't moving correctly, and that was at Lake Compounds in Bristol, Connecticut. Go ESPN.
There we go. And now we officially have a Scooter Hartford counter. We are up to 1 for this show. So there we go. Sarah, do you have any top 5 or anything you want to add?
Not really a top 5. I mean, here's the thing. I scream on maybe like all
can
of
vouch for
them,
that.
and it is still like an enjoyment thing. This is 2. Is
I think that counts as 2, yes.
But I'm trying to remember certain names. I have been to Busch Gardens both in VA and Tampa. Or at least, is it the one in Tampa? I think it's the one in Tampa.
Williamsburg.
Well, no, there's one in Williamsburg and there's the Busch Gardens in Florida too. I'm trying to remember if it was Tampa or it was Orlando. But happened there, happened to SeaWorld, and of course Universal. Trying to think of, and then obviously Cedar Point, the small Demir town. Is that?
It's a park.
That's a little silly one.
Got some good rides there.
Yes, it is. I think there was one more I went on, but I'm trying to think it was just Busch Gardens or it was another one. I have not been to Kingston Mini yet, even though that one's on the Carolina border. I think it's one called the Ray, or it's like, I think it's something with the Ray. I can't remember which one it's at, but that one was good. Like you said, Griffin at Busch, that one's a good one. I remember that one.
Yeah, that's basically
I love a lot at Cedar Point. There's not really one of the, I mean, there's ones that I can't do because it just moves you around too much, but the newer ones, Steel Vengeance, you know, wow, that was going on. As you can see.
So what's your 1? Give me your 1.
I don't know. I don't have like a 1.
All right. Well, you can do what I did. See, I did a 3-way tie for number 1. So there's Top Thrill 2, which is the newest one. Well, it opened last year and then it came back. That one has a 420-foot hill, but you go halfway up of it at 70 miles an hour. You come flying down it backwards at 93 miles an hour up to this big, huge crest. And then you go back up at 110 miles an hour up over the 420-foot peak hill. So it's a short ride, but it is something crazy. Steel Vengeance has 4 inversions. It used to be the old Mean Streak, but it's now a steel hybrid coaster. So they took the old frame and they made that. And those were my top 2. They were tied for number 1 until yesterday, was because Siren's Curse is new. It just opened up, and when it opened up, so hopefully this works here. Let's see here if I can bring this up. So this is shout out to. There we go. And you bring that up. We're going to bring this. So I want to get the proper shout out to Thrills POV. And then if this works here. So you go up the hill, and this is what's called a tilt coaster, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to take you on it here with us here. You should be able to hear the sound. So this is called.
I wonder if they have this on the VR headset, because I got one.
You technically can't take these on the rides if you're a passenger. But you hear the background. There's music actually playing in the car. So can you hear the sound, Scooter?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is like, they have it properly themed. So you come up here nice and slow, nice and easy. And you can hear the music in the background.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a nice, relaxing thing.
Sounds like Leonard Bernstein. It's a joke. It's not.
But look, there's no track.
Oh my God. They're all going to die. No, don't jump.
Now, if you hear her, you'll hear the sound once she gets going.
She's going to freak out. Oh, it goes inverted. Oh, it stops too.
Yes, you hang here for 5 to 6 seconds. And she actually says, like, prepare for your doom. And then it finally releases you.
It's nice, beautiful area though.
Oh, it's just amazing. You got these inversions, incredible airtime. You go into this little fog thing.
I didn't even look for
Yeah, you got dry spells. You're screaming. That's great. So and it's so smooth. And that hill is only, what is it? It's 160 feet. But the speed you get on this thing is just 100% incredible goodness. And then it comes to the end. So it's a quick ride, but it is a great ride. That is now tied for my number 1. I cannot say if you get there, it's the ride to be. So there you go. that's for our new theme of the summer ones. And so you kind of get to go on Siren's Curse without going up. But I like the way that the harnesses are on that thing, you are like hanging over. Like it feels like if this harness goes, like you're falling off. Like it's that loose. Like you're not, but that feeling when you're hanging there of just hanging out over the coaster seat just a little bit, beautifully done coaster. And there we have it. Anything you want to add, Sarah, to the coaster experience from yesterday?
That was terrifying. It was like I literally started going up the hill. I was like, I can't do this. And then Dash like, listen to the music. I'm like, the music does not help. It is creepy. It doesn't make me feel any better. It was a terrible comment to be made. And if anything, it just made me freak out more. And we started tilting and I just lost it. Eyes closed, screaming. The ride hadn't technically even started yet. And then, I didn't really look at the entire ride. I just had my eyes closed because I'm like, I don't know what to expect. And I'm not looking. The guy asked if we wanted to do front row and I told him absolutely not. I said anything but front row.
Oh, good stuff. All right. Scooter, anything to add on the coaster stuff?
I guess Space Mountain didn't make the list. That was always a favorite of mine.
It didn't. No, I mean, I thought of no. It's just there's so many good coasters out there. It can't. There's a lot of the stuff. I don't get me wrong. I love Disney. They've got a lot of good attractions, but there's just like the one coaster ride. They've got the hotel thing that drops you. They've got some good stuff, but it's just not there. So all right. So real quick, we got to wrap up here. Down the road, we are going to be back to our normal Monday slot at 5 o'clock starting July 14th. So that's where we'll be back to for a good few many shows. We'll be back to Mondays at 5 o'clock starting on July 14th. Next week, we'll get into the All-Star game will be on Tuesday. Monday will be the Home Run Derby at night. So we'll get into we'll see who makes the Home Run Derby and who's going to be in it. We'll give some predictions for that. Real quick, just of course, the Pretenders or Contenders is on with Coach Devon on Mondays at 7. Great show. Focuses more on the high school sports. Really, really good stuff. Tuesday Night Flight, so that'll be the guys. They should be up here 8 o'clock or as close to 8 o'clock as they can get. Sometimes they start a little bit later on the Tuesday Night Flight, but around 8 o'clock you'll get them. The Gentleman Jack is in on Wednesdays, the Thursday Night Throwdown, WrestleManiacs on Saturday, Sunday Morning Rise. So basically, we got every night of the week now almost covered except for Friday night. So it's good stuff. I appreciate all the comments in here, Anthony. Thank you for your comments. We definitely appreciate getting some new blood in here. Scooter, any thoughts before we head out?
No real thoughts going on here. Just hoping everyone has a good old time coming up and got a good week ahead.
Excellent.
You'll be alone next Monday.
I'll be alone next Monday.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you won't be right here next week.
That's for
sure. Do you got anything you want to add on to for the end of the show?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Well, then with that, I say I always finish every show. Make sure you hug your loved ones. Tell them that you love them because tomorrow is not guaranteed. But hopefully, if you guys are all here, we will see you on the Sideline Junkies in the future. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.